There's something about airport moments that always feels different, isn't there? Maybe it's the rawness. No stage lights, no scripted lines, no polished choreography, just real glimpses of artists in motion, caught between destinations, between schedules, between worlds. And yet, somehow, these fleeting seconds often carry more weight than a full concert performance. That's exactly what happened when Jimin and Jungkook were spotted at Incheon Airport, preparing to fly to the United States. At first glance, it looked like a routine departure. Cameras flashing, fans gathering from a distance, security guiding the flow. It's a scene we've seen countless times before with BTS. But then something shifted. Something subtle. Something that made people pause, rewind, and ask, wait, did they just say that? Because they did. And if you've been part of the army long enough, you know that nothing from them is ever just random. The moment itself wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic in the traditional sense. No big announcement, no official statement blasted across headlines. Instead, it came in the form of a few words, short, almost casual, but delivered with a tone that felt intentional. The kind of tone that makes you wonder whether you're witnessing a hint or the beginning of something bigger. Get ready. Simple, right? But here's the thing. When those words come from artists like Jimin and Jungkook, they don't stay simple for long. Fans immediately started dissecting everything. The timing, the expressions, the way Jungkook glanced toward the cameras, the slight smile on Jimin's face that seemed both playful and knowing. It wasn't just what they said. It was how they said it. And more importantly, why now? Because let's be honest, they didn't have to say anything at all. That's where the curiosity begins. Are they teasing a project? A collaboration? Something tied specifically to their US schedule? Or is this one of those moments where they're simply connecting with fans in a spontaneous way, knowing full well the impact their words carry? It's fascinating how a few seconds can spark such a wave of speculation. Social media lit up almost instantly. Clips started circulating within minutes, fan edits appeared not long after, and discussions began to spiral into dozens of directions. Some fans were convinced this was a direct hint at upcoming music. Others believed it might be related to a surprise appearance or performance in the US. And then there were those who took a more emotional approach, seeing the message as reassurance, a quiet promise that something meaningful is on the way. But here's a question worth asking. Why does this kind of moment hit so differently compared to official announcements? Maybe it's because it feels real. There's a certain authenticity in unscripted interactions. When artists speak outside of structured interviews or press releases, fans tend to listen more closely. Every word feels intentional, even when it might not be. And with Jimin and Jungkook, that effect is amplified because of the bond they've built with their audience over the years. It's not just about what they do. It's about how they make people feel. And this moment, it made people feel something. Excitement, obviously, but also curiosity, anticipation, a kind of emotional tension that sits quietly in the background, waiting to be resolved. It's the same feeling you get before a big reveal, except you don't know when, or if, that reveal is coming. And that uncertainty, that's part of the magic. Let's talk about timing for a second. Why now? The US has always been a significant space for BTS, not just in terms of music charts or performances, but in terms of cultural impact. It's where they've broken barriers, redefined expectations, and connected with a global audience on an entirely different scale. So any movement toward the US naturally carries weight. But when you add a message like, "Get ready," into the mix, it starts to feel less like a routine trip and more like a setup. A setup for what, though? That's the question everyone's asking. Could it be a new musical direction? A collaboration with Western artists? Or maybe something more personal? Something that reflects where Jimin and Jungkook are right now in their journey, both as artists and individuals? Because let's not forget, they've evolved. A lot. If you compare where they were a few years ago to where they are now, the growth is undeniable. Not just in terms of skill or performance, but in confidence, presence, and the way they communicate with their audience. They're more intentional now, more aware of their influence, and that awareness shows in moments like this. So when they say, "Get ready," It doesn't feel empty. It feels loaded. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not about giving fans clear answers. Maybe it's about creating a moment, a spark that ignites conversation, builds anticipation, and brings people together in shared curiosity. Because in a world where information is often handed to us instantly, there's something refreshing about not knowing everything right away. It gives space for imagination, for interpretation, for connection. Think about how many times you've replayed that clip. Not because you didn't hear it clearly, but because you were trying to feel it again. Trying to catch something you might have missed the first time. That's the kind of impact we're talking about. And it's not accidental. Jimin and Jungkook understand their audience. They know how even the smallest gesture can ripple outward and create something bigger. Whether this was a planned hint or a spontaneous moment, the effect is the same. It got people talking. And more importantly, it got people feeling. But let's challenge the idea for a moment. What if there's no big announcement coming? What if this was simply a genuine, off-the-cuff message meant to excite fans without any deeper agenda? Would that change how we see it? Or does the meaning we attach to it matter more than the intention behind it? Because here's the truth. Sometimes the impact of a moment isn't defined by what it leads to, but by how it resonates in the present. And right now, this moment is resonating in a big way. It's reminding fans why they care, why they pay attention, why even a short airport interaction can feel like a significant event. And maybe that's what makes BTS, and especially Jimin and Jungkook, so compelling. They don't need grand gestures to create impact. Sometimes, all it takes is a few words and a look that says more than those words ever could. So where does that leave us? Waiting, watching, speculating. And maybe that's exactly where we're supposed to be. Because anticipation has its own kind of energy. It keeps the connection alive. It turns passive viewers into active participants, constantly searching for clues, sharing theories, and building a collective experience that goes beyond the original moment. And in a way, that's what this is really about. Not just a message, not just an airport moment, but a shared experience between artists and fans, unfolding in real time. So now the question shifts to you. What do you think they meant? Was it a hint, a promise, or simply a moment of connection that we've turned into something bigger? There's no single right answer, and maybe there doesn't need to be, because sometimes the beauty is in the not knowing. But one thing is certain, whatever comes next, people will be watching closely. So if you felt that spark when you first saw the clip, if you caught yourself replaying it, analyzing it, or even just smiling at how simple yet powerful it was, you're not alone. And that's the kind of moment worth holding on to. If you want to stay ahead of everything that might unfold from this, keep your eyes open and your notifications on. Because if this really is the beginning of something bigger, you won't want to miss the next piece of the puzzle. And if it turns out to be just a moment, then it's still a pretty unforgettable one. So tell me, are you ready?